hats off to CARB for including aviation fuel in the LCFS. That's one really important example of the role that California plays. For those of us who didn't grow up in California, it's kind of like having this big brother or big sister who's like really good in school or whatever, and always tends to lead. And so what California does is so important, not only for the markets, but also for the symbols and the messages sent when California does things like CARB, including aviation fuel in the LCFS. As far as aviation being some people say, well, it's controlled by the federal government in the U.S., and so the state and the local municipalities have really less to say about what kind of fuels get used in the state. California has plenty to say about what gets used in its state, and ought to continue to recognize that role and continue to be active in it. So does the market. If you look at our Pete was good enough to mention the deal that we just did with Amazon, but in fact we did that deal with Amazon and Shell, and I thought it was a really important deal, not just for the volumes of fuel that it moved, but as a precursor to kind of where things are headed. So Amazon's an amazing story, right? In these last few months, all of our doorsteps have just been cluttered with Amazon products, right? It's just, all of a sudden, this is just how we get stuff. Well, they didn't just originate at the doorstep, they had to get there. And so as Amazon's going through its amazing growth, they simultaneously have committed to zero carbon emissions by 2040. So think about their growth and think about that commitment, and think about the folks in the skunkworks project at Amazon that have to find how those two things fit together. So their social license, if you don't get to be Amazon and continue to grow at their rate if you don't care about your interface with society. Their social license depends on them making huge leadership strides to be able to continue to grow their business. Otherwise, they can't grow.